Thank you so much, Nitish Ramlingam. Actually, it is very wonderful and it's too good. Hope Kapil sir and all others have enjoyed. And
Thank you.
without any delay, straightly we'll step into today's class. And I request all the students to interact with Kapil sir and make use of this good opportunity to enhance your creativity and knowledge regarding Blender. So now I hand over the session to Kapil sir. Thank you.
Thank you. That was wonderful, wonderful performance. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yeah, I'll just start sharing my screen. Yeah. Okay. So once again, I welcome everyone for this session, and most likely what I would be discussing briefly about, the animation. I would try to show you some simplistic animation concepts and a bouncing ball animation. We can try it out. Every other time we do, the rest of the part, you will have to do the self-exploration with the help of facilitators. And I would like to show some glimpse of few of the modifiers. So some of this part might have been, covered in the last session, but due to some glitches, I would like to, carry on with that part. So that is today's agenda. So before moving further, this is a screenshot that I have taken where all of you have, submitted your work. So if you can look at this particular Padlet, it's really promising and really interesting to see the variety of submissions that all of you have done. So I could see really interesting, 3D models, 3D scenes, then some animations, wonderful models that you have created. So I would like to, just quickly take you through that submissions so that, all of us can actually, okay. So these are all your work, and I'm really happy that the kind of self-exploration plus facilitation is happening, and I'm just playing a very small role into that. I haven't even taught you the detailed modeling, but this is really impressive, and I really appreciate your hard work. So just look at this detailing of this aeroplane made by Dev Narayan, and then these are some coronavirus models. Then I could see that some spring animation have been developed, right? This is a vehicle, a jeep. You could see that there is an animation happening over here. Let me check. So already you must have seen this, but I was really interested. I think this one works. Yeah. Yeah, so this is really wonderful to see, and why I'm showing this, because I want all of you to get inspired by this work. This is robotic arms. Wonderful. Okay. These are the old ones that we have already seen. So yeah, I request all of you to visit this Padlet page, and please try to learn more from it. I would again reshare this link because you are requested to post your work over here. I'm resharing the link. Okay. Now, before we can talk more about it, like I want us to revisit the animation that we had discussed in the first session. Okay, we're not going to spend much time onto this, but this is just for your revision. So if you remember, these are the your understandings about the animation. I'm not going to read it all. This is just to remind you that this is where all of us started. We had some conceptions, we had some ideas, and that's how we started, right? This was just for your reference. And so again, just to repeat, what is animation? It's, it's a change over time or some transformation, right, of some time. And then the typical important term is called as a frames, where you divide this animation, right? And classically, there are 24 frames for every second, correct? So basically, this frame is nothing but a drawing or an image or an instance. Okay. Now there is a term called keyframe. So the keyframes are nothing but starting or ending frame. So you have to define what is the starting point, what is the ending point. There could be so many keyframes in one particular shot of animation, right? So like you can see over here, if this is a ball that is moving, and this is a position A and this is position B, so these could be two starting and ending frames. Okay, and this is where you want to animate or translate this ball from A to B. So we already have learned about three transformation, that is translation, scaling, and rotation. So translation is nothing but moving from one point to another, okay, or a movement along a certain direction. Okay. Then rotation is a circular movement of an object around center of rotation. So I deliberately am not putting any visuals for this here because I want you to, just visualize that for yourself. Then scaling, of course, as it is, altering or changing the size of the object. Okay, that's what this thing. So let us start with this ball animation. Okay, let me see what file I have for ball animation. Okay. So Professor Thamba, I request you, in case again some disconnection happens, please call me on my phone. Otherwise, I will keep going on. So yeah, that's just request. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So if you could see, I have taken already modeled soccer ball. So I'm in front view. So before going to animation, if you look at these layouts, okay, these layouts, you can see 3D view, full, animation, composition, default, scripting, UV editing, shading, right? So this is a default layout where you are normally do the modeling. Then we have animation layout. So if you go to animation layout, you can see there are different, windows. This is a timeline window. This is dope sheet window. Okay. Again, this is particularly a graph editor. So I would mostly, try to talk about the timeline part, because that is where you first have to understand, and then you will understand the details of the dope sheet, which you can always try to learn from the help manual. Okay. Okay. So let me go to a default view. We are good with this default view. I can just resize this timeline window. So okay, so what I'll do is, this is how I can place this ball. Let me hide this lamp, hide this camera. So we are good with this. I'll rename this to all. Okay, is our object. Now, the important part is, let me annotate it as A. This is as B. Fine. So what I want to do is, I want to move this ball from A to B, correct? Now, if you could see here, how much time I really want to take for this movement or this translation. Suppose I want to move this ball from A to B in 2 seconds. Okay, 2 seconds. So approximately what I can say is 1 second is equal to
24 frames.
correct.
24 frames.
Yeah. So here, if you could see the timeline, these are the frames. Okay. So for 2 seconds, I would need to move the ball all approximately up to 50 frames. So first, what I'll do is I'll ensure that my this pointer is at 0. Okay. Then I'll ensure that ball is selected. Then I will press I to insert keyframe. Okay. So since I just want to change the location, I will insert keyframe for location. Now you can see that this particular thing has turned to yellow. Now what I'll do is, like I said, 2 seconds means I'll move it to 50. So here you can see that the current frame can be seen. So if you see, I can change it from left and right arrow. This is 50. Now at 50, I want this ball to move over B. So G, X, I can move approximately to B. Again, I have to insert the keyframe. Okay. So press I and insert location. So now you can see that these are the keyframes. This is at 0, this is at 50. Now if you just move this header, you can see this movement happening. Okay. So if you just play it, the ball will move. Now you can see the timeline, this header is kept moving because the ending frame over here is by default set to 250. And this will keep playing in loop unless you press escape or space bar. So I'll set it to 50. So just remember, this basics are really important so that the timings that you will be putting in your animation and how much seconds you want to perform that animation is really important. Just give me a moment. Hello. Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah, thanks. So, okay, so this is what is really important. If I press space bar, this will keep on moving. Fine. So this is basic of animation. For the translation, now what I'll do is I want to rotate this ball while it moves from A to B. Okay, so what I'll try to do is I'll redo again. I'll just select both of this. We'll delete this keyframe, so everything has been deleted. So first at 0, I will insert keyframe of location and rotation because I also want to rotate it. So I'll move it to 50. I'll move this to B. Then now I also want to rotate it. So you can perform the rotation in along any axis, about any axis. So I'll do R, Z, and I'll just perform random rotation. Okay. So you can see that rotation also happening. And again, insert keyframe of location and rotation. Can you see what is happening?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
It's 5:30.
So it is moving as well as it is rotating. Correct? So now remember, this is just for 2 seconds. So first get your hands dirty on this, this timing and thinking about or the placement of positions and everything, so that whenever you are going to perform much larger animation, like with larger duration, or if you're performing any human animation or adding some rigging to it, so you'll be able to understand more about it. Now, this was about translation and rotation. Similarly, we can add up the scaling also. So let me see if I can, add. This is individual location, rotation, scale, or three of us we can put together. So I added scaling. So let me take it to here. I'll also scale that up, the ball. Let me see if I can add. Okay. Yeah. So currently, since I'm in front view, it looks like a 2D animation. But if you just, try to change your views. Okay. So now this is just for your understanding. You can now, once you know the basics, then you can use your creativity, imagination, and ideas to, enhance this activities. Fine. Okay. So this was about the basic transformation. Now you must be wondering that since this is a ball, we want to see some bouncing effect or something like that. So let me, close this file. Let me reopen it again. So this time what I want is, I would put this ball somewhere here and I want to drop it from here to here. Okay, so I'll add some base, I'll add some plane over here, I'll scale it. Okay, so let me just make this base little bit thick so that we can see from one side. Okay, so this looks nice. Now, simply what we have to do is we have to translate in upward and downward direction. Okay, so maybe see at okay, let me just try to do this first. Let me insert a keyframe. I'll put all these things. I'll go to around 25. It will hit the case. Again, I will insert a keyframe by pressing I. Now, if you can see, 1 second it took to hit the bottom. Now, maybe same amount of time I can apply so that it will go back to the original position. So let me see what was the original position. Here in transform properties, if you check it is 0. Okay, fine, doesn't matter. I'll do it approximately. So I'll go here, then I'll go here. I'll move the ball back somewhere here. I'll insert key. So can you see what is happening? Okay, so since it is up to 60 frames, I will set it to 60. So still, this is not more realistic bounce, but this is for our basic understanding. Fine. And again, the speed looks like very slow. So you can always, left click and select this frames and move on the timeline, and accordingly you will be able to see the speed. So if you see, this is a bit faster. We'll set it to 40. Okay. You can see from all angles. Fine. So you can keep adding upon the rotation, scaling, and all the effect to make it more realistic. And then you can also work upon some adding some armature or something like that. Fine. Now, the important part here is to understand that to make it more realistic, how much you have understood the the real physics behind this bouncing ball. So if you want to make a scientific or the accurate bouncing, then you need to understand what the ball is made up of. Is it a rubber ball? Is it a leather ball? Is it a saucer ball, a tennis ball? What kind of a ball is and what kind of a surface it is hitting, right? That is what you have to consider. And then if you're trying to make it more cartoon based, then you need to exaggerate things. So basically when it will hit the ground, we just this will squash a little bit. This will be like more of a something like this should happen to the ball. Okay, this is I'm scaling for your understanding. This may not be very accurate at the moment, but this is how it will happen. So we can always try to do that. So let me see if I can.
Sir, we can use constraint.
Yes, you can use constraint also. Correct. Yeah. So what I'll just try to do is, at 19, applying the scaling and everything. Okay, so let me see what it looks like. This is going wrong because it is scaling, so I just have to be careful with the frames that I'm adding. Okay, so that I'll share some tutorial for you to explore that part. So this is what the basic of animation. So I know this is very simplistic as compared to what already all of you have done over here, because these animations are really wonderful. Okay, but you need to understand the timing. Now the important part that I would like to make over here is you guys have to apply all your learning and should come up with at least 10 seconds of animation, anything, not this one, any animation that you want to create. Maybe a bouncing ball animation, maybe car moving, or a rocket flying, or a aeroplane flying, or a man walking, or anything that you are comfortable with. Okay, so that you can create and always submit on the Padlet whenever before your course ends, or whenever you get time. The link will always be open for you. Okay, so this was about the animation, and like I've been saying, you can always refer to manuals and tutorials that are given by Blender. Okay, right? Now I would like to move to next part. Let me see what we have. I will quickly go with the modifiers. Okay, the Blender modifiers. So some of you or most of you must have already explored these modifiers. So you can see that the modifiers are nothing but automatic operations that we can perform to manipulate the objects while we do modeling or animations. Okay, so here if you can see in the properties panel, this panel is the modifier properties. If you click on that, if you click on this link, you will see modify, generate, deform, physics, all these type of modifiers, right? So these are the modifiers. So modifiers, like I said, are automatic operations So sometimes we need to do manually, but there are different modifiers that will allow you to perform these operations automatically. Okay, and it will not destruct your geometry. So using this modifier, we can perform many effects. Okay, otherwise it's doing manually, it's going to be very tedious, right? Like subdivision surface we have seen. So I'll quickly take you through the solidify modifier. So what it will do is, suppose whenever you're creating any object, it will allow you to add some thickness and will make it looks like a solid object. Okay, so let me just try to work with this cube. I will select the cube. I'll go to edit mode by pressing tab. Then I'll select the face. I'll delete the X by pressing S faces. So you can see that a hollow cube. Now, what I can do is, just give me a moment. Wireframe. Okay, so once I have this cube selected, I will add modifier. I'll check upon the second column, solidify. Now, if you carefully look at this thing, you can change the thickness. Can you see that thickness is, you can increase the thickness, right? So otherwise what we have to do is we have to do all these things manually. So whenever you're doing some these kind of models, okay? So if you can keep doing that, it will go reverse. It will add thickness outside of the geometry, inside the geometry. So it's up to you what you want to, what kind of object you want to model. Now just let me show you this front view or the side view. So here the thickness added is not uniform. Okay, so if you just click on this even thickness, it will make it an even thickness, and accordingly you can change the size and shape. So you can just check upon what is happening with these options. You can always, explore. I'll go to solid mode. Now you can also explore this fill option. So this particular part is gets filled. Only rim will allow you to add thickness to this rim and not the inner part of the object. Okay, so this is what the very interesting modifier we have.
Sir, can you show this once more?
Sure, I'll show one more time. Okay, so for example, suppose we have created I'll just create. Okay, so first what I'll do is wait, this is a modeling thing, so you don't need to bother about it. Just close this face. Okay, so if you see here in this object, what we have is a very thin thickness. Okay, it's very thin. So normally in real object we do not have this much thin edges or something like that. So I just want to make it more solid and want to add the thickness. So what I'll do is,
Sir, sorry for the interruption. I just have a doubt.
yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, how have you closed that edge, sir? Can you please repeat that?
Okay, I'll come back to that. Okay, I'll come back to that
Okay.
first.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah. Thanks for asking. Yeah. Okay. So let us first look at this. Now I just want to add more thickness to it. So go to modifier, look for solidify. Okay. So the moment I selected solidify, you can see that a little bit thickness is added, which is 0.01 m. So if you keep on increasing that, you can see that thickness, right? Either inside or outside. Okay. So I'll just put it like this. So that's what's the basic idea of it. Now, additionally, what I wanted to show you is in a wireframe mode, you will be able to see if the thickness is even or not. There are more edges, so you will be able to not see it, but you can always have this even thickness or fine. So if I just put it for reams, only reams will be, get it added. Right, either inside or outside. Okay, so let me do this much only. This is what the solidify will do. If you remove it, it will be very thin. So according to your requirement, you can set it up. Right, then definitely you have so once you apply this here, now this will become a part of your geometry. Okay, this will become a part of your geometry. That's how it is. Okay, so now I'll go back to the other part where you asked me how to fill that part. So let me add I think same thing. I'll start with cube. So if you see in edit mode, you can see the vertices, you can see the edges, you can see the faces. Okay, so you can delete a particular geometry. So if I can delete this particular face, select it, press X and delete face. Now that was about deleting face, but what if I want to create the face? Okay, so definitely I need to select 1, 2, 3, 4 these vertices, and I want to create a face. So if you once you have selected, if you press F, it will close this loop and it will add face. That's what I did with the cylinder also. Now this was about creating a face. Now you must have been wondering how to select particular vertices. Suppose I'm in front view and I want to select just bottom vertices, or if I want to select these bottom vertices. So the first deselect everything by pressing double A or clicking anywhere outside the geometry. So whatever, so if you press B, you will see this hairline, okay, the white line, and click and drag. Similarly, in a similar way, like we select multiple folders on our desktop. So whatever is getting covered in this particular area will get selected. Okay. Now, sometimes the background geometry will get selected or may not get selected. Suppose if I'm looking from this side and if I want to select the bottom 4 vertices, only visible vertices will get selected, not this one. Okay. That's what it happens. So either you can use this toggle X-ray mode where you can see the background geometry, or you can simply enter into wireframe mode. Okay, so that you can see all the vertices and it will simply enable you to select all this geometry and vertices. So I think this I've already shared with you. You can just again practice it. It's not a big deal. It's very simple. That's what it was all about. Okay, was it
Yes, sir.
clear?
Thank you for totally.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah. Thanks. So see, there are very small things. No, I mean it's again. I still keep on learning, right? Sometimes I also get forget about these things. So it's okay. Now the next modifier is mirror modifier. So suppose you have created half geometry, mostly like faces that we create. So this is something I can show you. If you can create half geometry and you don't want to create another part of it, you can simply apply the mirror modifier and you will be able to create the other part of the geometry. So this is very simple object. You can think of a bigger objects or complex object, trees, faces, humans, animals, whatever you can think of, cars, anything. So let me just what I can do is delete this. Okay, so let me check UV sphere. I'll go to edit mode. I'll go to wireframe. First, what I'll do is I will just delete this part. Okay, X. Now I'll delete vertices. So just check the geometry. Some of them are still visible, so I'll go to top view. I'll zoom a little bit. Press B. Okay, X vertices. Fine. Okay.
Sir, can you repeat again?
Okay. So see, simply what I've done is, okay, forget about the deletion part. I'll repeat that. Just imagine that you have half sphere, and you want to, make it full. First, start from there. So this is a half sphere. Go to add modifier. Look for mirror modifier somewhere here. If you click on that, by default it will, create the other part of it. So if you go to edit mode, you will actually be able to see you only have the half one, and whatever you work with this half, no, if you just grab and move over here, so wherever it is located with respect to that reference, it will create the mirror image of the object. Okay, so since
Okay, thank you, sir.
since it is at the center, now if you look at these axes, currently it is getting mirrored along x axis, that is this red line. So if I just put it somewhere here, okay, for our understanding, it will mirror according to that particular part. Now if I put okay, I enable Y, disable X, so we cannot see because already it has some geometry over here. But if I move it along Y, you will be able to see that it is creating the mirror geometry. Okay, doesn't matter where your object is. Fine. Same will happen with Z. So this is, you can explore, don't need to worry about it. It's very simple. It's just about selecting this axis and accordingly playing around with it. That's it, nothing to worry much. So technically I'll go to X. Okay, let me select all of three and let me see what happens. This is, so see, since my object is at this particular location, first it gets mirrored along X, which is this part, then it gets mirrored along Z, which is this part, then it is getting mirrored along Y, which is this part. Okay, so don't get confused, this is just I'm trying to demonstrate you. If we remove all these things, okay, we are good with that. So let me keep it at center. Okay. So just think about, you have created half part of a pot or a half bike or a half aeroplane or something like that, and you just want to mirror it. Now if you, okay, you have to go to object mode and then you have to apply. So if you click on apply, now you can see this has become the whole object. Okay, so this is what all about mirror modifier.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. So about the other part about selecting these vertices, so like I was telling you, so there are background vertices that I want to select, or some part of the geometry I want to select. So I prefer being in a wireframe mode sometimes when I just want to select the these type of vertices. Otherwise what will happen, so if I do this, only visible vertices will get selected. Okay, so we actually don't want that. That is what I was trying to tell you. So deselect, shift Z, be at a nice view, then click on B, ensure all the geometry and vertices you are covering. Okay, this is what it is all about. Then you can delete vertices and see what is happening with this. So this is what about deleting the vertices. Fine. Are we good? Okay. So you need to practice and explore, definitely. I'll delete this. I will add just cone for the sake of it. Another modifier is array modifier. So if you want to, let me see. So for example, first let us see what happens. If I apply array modifier, it will create duplicate or similar objects. Now here, if you see the count is 2, if I keep on increasing the count, okay, those number of arrays will get created. Now this is the offset. It is 1 towards x direction. If you make it 0, nothing will happen. If you put 1 in y direction, the array will be created on y direction. If you if you add it 1 to z, you'll be able to see that in z direction. But if you put 1 1 1 on each, right, so x1 z1 y1, so this is how it will create. So this is just a part of exploration, so I'll just keep it 1 in x. So you can also add some different constraint to this also, but let that part to be as an exploration part. Now the interesting part is if you go to edit mode, you will be able to only see one object. Okay, so again what you'll have to do is in an object mode you have to apply. So once you apply, you will be able to see that the entire thing has become one geometry. Okay, so now if you want to create array of this particular thing, what you'll have to do is again go. Now I'll try to have it in a y direction. Okay, I'll count, right? So can you see what we are able to do with it? So definitely you can duplicate these objects, but this is one of the easiest way to do that. So think of a situation where you have to create army of soldiers, or forest having so many trees, then yeah, something like that. These examples if you want to create. Okay, again if I go to edit mode or sorry, object mode, and if I simply apply, now this entire thing will become one object. How to separate those is again entirely different thing, because in object mode if you select one, this is the entire one thing, not a separate entity. So just for your additional information, suppose you have added this object, and if you want to make it separate entity, separate cones, go to edit mode. Okay, let me select everything. If you just right click and go down, go down, go down, go down, if you see the separate option and then click on by loose parts. So if you click on by loose parts, this entire thing will get separated. Okay, now if you go to object mode, you will be able to select each individual object, but now you won't be able to enter the multiple selection in edit mode. Okay, so this is just for additional information. You can look for this, how to separate in loose parts. So I would try to have some tree example. Don't save. So I had just downloaded one pre-model of so let me go to object mode. This is some tree that I'm having. Okay, so you can add modifier array.
It's 6 o'clock.
Right, and you can, of course, you can always do the placement wherever you want by pressing G. So this is X direction. Then I will apply this. And again, I will add the array modifier. I will do it in a Y direction. Increase the count. Correct? So this is how you can create some trees. Of course, you just change this distance so that you can have it placed at particular, I mean, the separation distance, whatever you want. Right? So this is how the modifiers will help you in, expediting the process. Okay.
Sir, I just have a doubt.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, is object created by using array or parented by default?
Sorry.
Sir, we are creating some objects using array now, sir.
Yes.
So
Yes.
will that be parented by default?
It will not be parented, but it will be a part of the entire geometry. That's what I showed. No, now if these trees are not separated, this is one geometry. So if you go to edit mode, so if I apply this modifier over here, okay. So I cannot say that it is parented, but this is the whole thing as a one object. So if you want to separate these objects, just go to edit mode, select, right click, separate by loose parts will allow you to have it's taking some time now. So like I showed for the cone, this is how it will look like.
Okay,
Yeah.
sir. Thank you.
Yeah,
Sir.
yeah. So this is a basic array. So there is no parenting thing that I'm doing right now. Okay, there are other things where you can add empty and perform the parent those operations, right?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, in arrow modifier, if we color a single object, the whole object will get colored, or
So see, now like we have seen, if you have colored one tree initially, and then you are applying a array modifier, then definitely it will color the entire thing. If you have applied the modifier and then you are trying to just color one tree, then it will not color the other part. Like when we have a cube, and if you have just selected one face and you are applying material to one face, it will just get applied to one face, depending on what selection you're doing. That's how it is going to work. And of course I would suggest you to just try and test, and just you also tell me what happens, right? Okay.
okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. So yeah, another modifier is, this was the array modifier I just showed you. I just have a couple of more. One is build modifier and one is screw modifier. I think some of you have already used this screw modifier. So let me just show the build modifier first. What I'll first do is I will add a plane, just try to scale. Edit mode, subdivide, edit mode, subdivide, edit mode, subdivide. I'm just trying to subdivide it. Okay. Now, in modifiers, if I add build modifier. So if you see, there is by default a start frame is 1, length is 100. So I'll just set the end frame is 100. You will see what is happening. So basically, if you just look at the timeline, if I just move it, it will just build this particular geometry. That's what this build modifier will do. Okay. So if you do it reverse, then it will dissolve this geometry. if you change the length to something like 50, the entire thing will get finished in 2 seconds or something like that, right? And if you just click on randomize, the starting or seeding points, you call that a seeding point from where the frame will, the object will get, you know, appear or disappear. So depending on your requirement, you can use this build modifier. So this is, I added this geometry. I'll add again UV sphere. I will add build modifier, and you can see what happens with the UV sphere. Okay, it will build the geometry like this. So these are the effects that, depending on your creativity and imagination, you want to use. Suppose you are creating an animation for a car showroom, and you want your the car to, you know, appear like this in parts or something like that, right? Or a superhero is getting appeared. Okay? So that's what the build modifier will help for you. So more, I would suggest you to explore. The next part would be the screw modifier. Okay. So there are different things that we need to explore about the screw modifier. So let me just, okay, let me do this. Let me add circle. Okay, I'll go to top view. I'll just move this circle on X direction somewhere here. See what happens if I add screw modifier, and if I click on X axis. Okay. Let me do it in Y or Z axis. Okay. What I'll do is I will just rotate this circle along RX90. This is how the circle will look like. Now, if I add a screw modifier, and let me just redo it again. Sorry for circle. Add a circle. Change the location somewhere here. Add screw. Fine. Okay. So something that I'm missing at the moment, just let me, why, okay. Shift A, circle, G, okay, modifier, screw. So see, sometimes I also get stuck, so it's okay. Somehow I'm not able to. Okay, let me do something else. Okay, what I'll do is I will add curve, knobs curve, rotate it like this. I'll move somewhere here. select one vertex, extrude, extrude. Okay. Extrude. Okay. Something like this I have created. So if I simply add modifier, screw modifier, okay, if I change axis to Y, this is what you'll be able to see, right? So originally the object was just a one curve line that I had created, okay? But if I added the modifier, this is how I'll be able to create a model. I'm online, sorry. So last time I missed this part. Yeah, you can then, if you just, these screw things, if you change, no, it will deform, but this is how you can, quickly use this particular technique to, so if I set it to 180, it will just create half geometry. And then if you want to apply mirror modifier, you will get the desired shape. That's what I was trying to show with the circle part of it. So let me again try to add this circle. Okay, circle G here, add modifier, screw. I don't know what is happening with this. Okay, let me delete it. Shift A, circle, edit mode. Now I will change its location. So the center of the object was getting shifted. Now it will give us the desired result. Okay, now we are good to go. So you see this is the circle, but it has screwed along y-axis. That's why we are able to see this. And then if you apply the screw thing, this is how it will look like. And if you add iterations, these are the iterations. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is your screw this thing. I think some of you have done this spring effect, right? So yeah, otherwise it's difficult to create this geometry. Fine. So I'll just repeat this once again. Add a circle, go to edit mode, and then change its location. Sorry. Add circle, go to edit mode, GX, back to object mode, add modifiers, screw, change it to Y. Then you can add iterations as well as screw. You can always scale it down, right? This is how you can work with the screw modifier. Yeah, that's all. That's all for this thing, today's thing. And yeah, now it's up to you how you want to make more utilization of these things. So like I have said already, I have looked at all your submissions, and I would definitely appreciate if you can go beyond what you have learned. So this is some of you have made. This is really interesting. This is 4 seconds. I would request you to try to, based on your computer's processing capacity, try to make it at least 10 to 15 seconds of animation. Anything of your choice. You have to explore and learn on that part. Already some of you have done wonderful job. Let me see what it is. This is beautiful lighting animation, correct? Okay. Sorry if I'm not able to play everybody's animation, but it's always there. So this is really wonderful effects that we have created, right? So don't get bothered if you fail, if you are not able to perform it properly. The important part is this is a very initial phase. Once you are comfortable with, yeah, okay. This is again some interesting animation. So you will be able to perform well. That's what I can ensure you. So why I'm saying 10 to 15 seconds of animation, because try to, understand what all you want to show in that particular animation. Okay, how much frames, how much seconds, what exactly you want to show in first 5 seconds, 5 and third 5 seconds, or the entire 10 or 15 seconds animation. So that is one thing you have to do. Another assignment I would suggest you to do is, create a proper scene. Like this one, you have created one object. So create a proper scene, set up a camera angle, apply all textures, materials, whatever things you have learned, and have a very nice output. Create a nice background, and it should look very nice as per the camera angle also. So these are the good examples I can see. Here, if you can fix the camera angle, here also you can fix the camera angle. You can use some lightings like this. Okay, so this is all for your self exploration and submission. So Professor Thamba can suggest you the time for all these submissions. Yeah, and like I was telling you, I am working on responding your queries, and shortly I'll be able to share the sheet with you, so that I would share some links so that your queries will get resolved. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. If any questions, quick questions I can have, otherwise you can always post it in a Google form that you'll get shared by Professor Thamba, and then we can discuss upon that. Okay. Yeah. Are you guys there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Thank you so much,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. Okay.
Really, it was a wonderful session, and thank you so much for sparing your valuable time with us. Hope all our students got new ideas with the animation. And we have done with all the topics in our syllabus, and some of our participants asked to have a session on modifiers. So now by attending this session, they would be happy and satisfied by learning a new concepts of modifiers, I think.
Okay. Okay.
So
Good.
thank
Good.
you for clearing the doubts instantly, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Participants, if you're having any queries, you can ask now.
Thank you, sir.
You can ask, otherwise you can post it on a Padlet also. I will definitely respond all your queries, if not today, but within a couple of days. So don't worry about that. I'll be always try to
Okay, sir. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Thank you for creating such a good
Thank you.
platform. Sir.